everybody, and welcome to Navitas Safety's Tasty Safety podcast. We're a safety company, and we're here today to talk about sustainability in the kitchen. I'm Abby, campaign manager at Navitas Safety, and I'm here with Dan, our CMO.
Hi everybody.
We're going to be talking to Calum Richardson from the Bay Fish and Chip Shop today, so let's get into it. The Bay is a nationally acclaimed Stonehaven-based fish and chip shop, founded by Calum Richardson, who won the UK Young Fish Fryer of the Year award. They're outspoken on sustainability and have been a Navitas Safety partner since 2019. So today we've got Calum here to talk about how you can be a more environmentally friendly business by focusing on sustainability in your kitchen. So hi Calum, thank you for joining us today.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Are you?
All good, thanks.
Good, lovely. So can we start by you telling us a bit about your business, the Bay, and the backstory of it all?
Okay, so I'll go back to the start for me. So for me, I was useless at school, dyslexic. Back in that days, it wasn't really overly recognised. I really wanted to join the Navy. I wanted to be a chef. I sat the exams and they put me in as an engineer. So it was a total new learning process for me. So I just had to go and learn to do things different. I love the Navy. It gave me a kind of foundation for what I am now. So I was able to work as a team, able to work on my own. But when I look back now about how that evolved, sustainability, when I was in the Navy, crikey, you used to be able to pump water waste out anywhere. And then it became like a 1 mile radius. Then it became 5. Then you were getting banned from pumping anything over the side. So times had changed, Same with rubbish. You used to put the rubbish over the side. But I got the opportunity to come out and manage a fish and chip shop. I really enjoyed it. There was a career. So I opened my own business, and that's where I went out and won Young Fish Fryer of the Year. So I think I won that in 2002 to 2004. I won that. All of a sudden, I was mixing with all the people that were in Fish and Chip Shop of the Year and all the kind of guys who had been in it a long time and very successful. So that's when I created the Bay, which would have been 2006. We're right on the seafront, with the water being on my front of my door. Actually, it's been in my front door a few times as well. It actually opens your eyes. You think, oh, we really got to watch. And it all started with, for me, what was going down the drain in the sink. So I was washing the dishes and you're thinking, what are we putting down here? Because my fish is coming out of that water. So that's when I started thinking about sustainability in a big way. And that's kind of the catalyst from that point.
Mm-hmm. At the Bay, you are obviously quite sustainability conscious and you've had quite a lot of awards. The Sustainable Restaurant Association has recognised you. You got 3 awards from them and other bodies. I've seen a quote from you before as well that says, we all share the same responsibility to do better for the planet. And so you said that's obviously what made you start thinking about sustainability. But what does sustainability mean to you then?
Well, I think a lot of folk use sustainability as box ticking. So they're just ticking a box. They're just saying, yeah, I buy sustainable fish. But are you? Just because you're saying you are you? And then it's not just about the fish. It's energy. Cool. If anyone's got to be energy efficient, it's now. But it's like all these things. There's the energy coming in, energy going out. Every single food product comes in, and every product goes out. And everything just snowballs, but you get some great feedback from staff and customers, but staff are really good. You get the young ones coming in now, you don't have to teach them because this is what they're learning at school, but they come with good ideas. And that's where you've got to have that open door approach and let the learning just happen every day.
The mentality and what people expect now, like your customers, like they expect all this sort of stuff. And if you're able to say that and you're very passionate about it, dedicated to it, it almost becomes like a really strong USP. So I think that's what we see for kind of the Bay Fish and Chip Shop. Like you are like the shining beacon of kind of sustainability and what you're doing properly. And I don't know, I have this feeling where it just gives this impression of quality as well, because you're so passionate and dedicated to doing that. It kind of relates to everything else you do as well. So I personally love it, and it's very kind of where we need to be going.
Generally speaking, I think when you start buying and creating an image, the quality generally is there. You're not going to cut the corners.
Yeah, definitely.
So the Bay was a caterer for the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference last year, and we'd love to hear how that came about and what did it entail.
So that came about because I'm a supplier for Compass Group. So when they were doing 2020, they came to me and they said, "Look, we're going to do fish and chips in there. We want to know if you'll allow us to use your products." And then they said, "Would you actually come and cook it and promote it?" So for me, it was like, you know, it was amazing because I was cooking for all the leaders. So all the world leaders and Congress and everything were there. It was a real buzz, you know, an honour, because it's not going to happen again. But it was good. It was funny watching what goes on there, because it really proves to you how far we've still to go. You know, you were never going to get there, because every time you think you're there, something new comes along or the world's changing. It's a positive step. It's a step forward in the right direction for sure. They could have done with some of your probe monitors in there, though. I would have said that'd have saved me a bit of time chasing around doing things that I was doing 15 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're already quite environmentally conscious, did being at the conference change your viewpoint on anything, bring anything new to the forefront, open your eyes to anything you hadn't considered?
It highlighted to me what we were doing above and beyond what most folk are.
So can we talk now about sustainability in your food safety practices? What are the three main challenges you'd say you faced when it came to sustainability?
Actually, one key thing actually with sustainability is a lot of time it is more expensive. Fact, you know, so a lot of products are, so the fish would be dearer. The energy is a great one. That's expensive, you know. And in Scotland, we've got to do food waste recycling, all recycling, and food waste really expensive. So, but what it teaches you is you've got to actually save money in other areas. So if the electric's expensive, you soon realise, well, hang on a minute, let's put in sensors in the shop so the lights only go on when someone's in the area. You know, don't put the oven on until actually it needs to be on. Don't put it on at 10 in the morning when you go in. If it only needs to be on at 11:30, put it on at 11:30. But the challenges would be, you know, you've got to watch your energy. That's crucial. Getting supplies.
Yeah, definitely. So they're your main challenges. And Navitas have been working with you since 2019 now. You've got 7 of our smart pods and the Smart Probe. Can you explain to us a bit about what your food safety was like before getting the digital food safety kit from us?
Yeah, so pretty much before I came on board with you guys at Navitas, I had a cook safe that I'd created myself, and I tried to simplify it so it wasn't 1,000 pages a day, making it confusing for people. I tried to like really streamline it. It was effective, but it's only as effective as the people that are meant to be put in front of it. You know, errors happen. If the shop is busy, so it's okay when it's quiet to remember, go and take that temperature, go and check the fridges. It's human error. So I was down at, I think it was Hotel Olympia years ago, and I seen a similar system. So I took it on board, and actually it was really good, but it never evolved. I can't remember what it was. I think I seen Ben, the owner. I seen him on, I think it was on LinkedIn. It was LinkedIn. Seen him on there, and I thought, I'm going to message him and see what this is all about. And that's what it was. He messaged me back straight away, which you know, I mean, customer service is pretty crucial for me. And I thought, if they're quick enough to deal with that, let's see where it goes. And then I had a look at it, and that was it. You know, for me, I like the functionality of it. So we've got the fridges, so we don't have to worry about temperatures. They're dealt with. And if there's a problem, I get a message to my phone to tell me there's a problem in that fridge, and we can adjust it so it's different times of day. So it's not when you're in and out every 5 minutes getting text messages. So that's the basic part. But where it evolved is I like the cleaning schedule to be all in one place, which it is. And also it can be changed whenever. So like I changed the way it was set out just the other week, and I got it rebooted, so it's a new kind of format now. So it's evolving, because at the end of the day we've evolved, so we've all got to evolve together. And then the other part is being able to take food temperatures and deliveries. So you're recording the deliveries. So this is actually great for the sustainability. So like the fish comes in from Cooper's, my supplier. He gives me his delivery note, and it's got MSC written on it. So we can probe the fish, record the temperature. We can take a photo of the delivery note, which says it's MSC and the quantity on it. And then we type in what the code is as well for the delivery note. Do we accept it? Don't we accept it? So it's got the protocol. It's all there. And then it's saved. There's no tampering. It's not like EHO's coming in and you're like filling it. Or when I go down judging shops for competitions and you open up their cook safe and you're like, Same coloured pen, same
The-
handwriting for like 3 weeks in a row. That never happens. But it's like, this is what people do, and it's because of the old-fashionedness. But when you look at the time that takes a day to scoot around and make error, so for me, that part is great. Being able to record everything, and it's quick, and it's also easy because the parameters are on there. So if you put it in, so Scotland and England, obviously, cooking temperatures and everything's different. So if someone goes in and they've got a reheated product or a cooked product and they go to probe it, if it isn't the right temperature, it'll say, this isn't good. It needs to be heated up more, or give us a reason why not. So I love it because it's taken out that, it's like point and shoot. It's so staff can do what they do and concentrate on what they concentrate, and it means I don't have to take every temperature, because otherwise you kind of really do, because you can't trust someone else. They'll just fill that book into what it says. But if you're probing it with this bit of kit, there's no cheating.
Yeah, I'm really glad you find it such a positive help for you. That's really nice to hear. You half touched on it, talking about the sustainable aspect. Was that a driver for you when getting a digital food safety solution, or was it just you saw this bit of kit, you thought, oh, that's a nice modern way to move? Or did you think about sustainability at the time?
Collectively, I wanted away from paper. I wanted away from human error. And I know how much it can save you in time, which is money. And also, if there's a problem with the fridge or freezer, it's spotted straight away. It's there. It happens instant. So you can save the product that's in it, probably, but you can also get an engineer out pretty quick as well. So, or it could be something as stupid as someone's left the fridge door open, and if the fridge door open, then it's burning electric and it's wasting energy. So it has. It's the ethos of it all comes into a complete package for me.
And the great thing about the pods as well is you can put that the amber warnings on. So if they're using too much power as well, it's a really good way to see if your fridges and freezers are using too much power. So you don't need a freezer that's like minus 28 or something. That's using way more power than you need to. So the beauty of the pods is you can also highlight things like that, reduce the power usage. Certainly before you close up for the day, if you see it's on full whack power, that's a perfect opportunity to turn it down to make sure it's optimized. And then you don't need to worry, because then if ever anything happens, you're going to get those alerts to say, oh, it's just got a non-compliant temperature. So it's kind of it's monitoring it 24/7 for you. So you're not having to be like, oh, just need to check. It's all kind of done.
I think a big problem that a lot of people have, though, is they have too many fridges and freezers. I go around to judge shops and you walk in and you're like, why have you got all these freezers? Oh, just in case. And you're like, but you can get deliveries all the time. You don't. What's the just in case for? But they're all half full, and it's pointless. Like I had for years, and I loved it. I had a double door fridge, big, huge, grand double door fridge, and that was my ready use fridge for going in and out of, and I loved it. But when I was refitting the shop a couple of years ago, I wanted away from it. I wanted work surface because I was really tight on workspace, and I thought, I wonder if I can get an under counter fridge in here. I opened the doors to the fridge, and I'm thinking, right, so you've got a tray of pies, and then you've got the same height above it with nothing there. But every shelf had a gap of the same amount. So when you stripped it down, you did pretty much have a under counter fridge. So I changed. I ripped all my kit out, changed the whole lot, and put in fridges and freezers. But I've put in, instead of doors, I've put in drawers. So you're filling the drawers with the gas thrones. It's far more efficient, space wise, cleanliness. It works. Times have changed, really have.
That sounds like a great improvement to have made, because obviously a big sustainable push is to reduce your energy consumption. So obviously the cost of energy is rising in the UK, and so it's not just a sustainable issue now, it's also a cost issue, isn't it? And in your appliances, if you are just 1 degree cooler, so say instead of 4 degrees, you're 3 degrees in your fridge, it increases your energy consumption by 5 to 10%. So that's actually quite a lot more energy consumed. And the average estimate from research is that most appliances are running 2.2 degrees cooler than necessary. So that's up to 22% extra energy consumed. So obviously larger costs, larger carbon emissions. How many appliances do you have, and what type of appliances do you have at the Bay then?
So I changed from a double sliding door juice fridge, and I put in one of the old Sammy's Deck ones, but it's Foster's. with a pull down curtain for the end of the night. Again, you're getting more in it. And then I put in, it was a 4-door Foster's, but it's actually 1 door and 3 or 4 sets of drawers, 3 up and down as well. But that's great because, like, you're talking about the temperature dropping in and out. When I was opening my big double door fridge to get one piece of fish out, I was opening half of the fridge. Whereas now I'm only opening a tiny little drawer, taking out what I want and putting it back. There's no temperature differentiation. And then we've got 2-door Foster's freezer. That's the only freezer I've got. Fish fridge. And then we've got a walk-in chill. And that's it for us. Yeah.
One of our priorities is obviously helping our customers move forward with sustainability and get the best out of their business. And so on the energy consumption front, we're really trying to prove how our smart pods can help you reduce the cost. We've just talked about your appliances, but I'd just like to demonstrate the kind of energy consumption a business like yours might use. So every appliance obviously has a kilowatt hour rating to demonstrate how much energy it uses. And I'll use your examples. So it suggests that your fridges and freezers used about 30,000 a year. And so if we base that on current UK energy costs of about 16.3p per kilowatt, that would be about a £5,000 spend on energy a year. Now, if your appliances were 2.2 degrees cooler than necessary, you could actually be racking up about £1,000 in extra energy costs a year and creating over a ton extra unnecessary carbon emissions from that. So by having the smart pods in your fridges and freezers, that's about how much energy cost the average business about your size could be saving. And in the scheme of things, especially with the rising energy costs in the UK, it seems more prevalent to think about that now as well as a challenge to tackle.
And obviously, for anyone obviously would be listening to this, they probably only see their own energy usage, which has a cap. So when you're a business, there is not an energy cap. So you're more subject to even higher fees than obviously me and my household would be, for example. So that's why it's so volatile at the minute. So even something as simple as, oh, this is using like twice as much energy as I need to for just one fridge, that can, because the price is so high, that can have such a massive impact on your energy bill. And when it's like a key factor to obviously you can't run your business without your fridges and freezers, and obviously they're on all the time, it just has a really huge impact. So with the pods, what we're trying to do is show how, like, because they are so accurate, you can rely on them. It gives you that option to then monitor them, make sure the energy usage is like, you can kind of put it closer to your kind of compliance line, because it is being watched all the time. Every 20-30 minutes you're getting updates on it, so you're able to do that. Whereas if you were not having that kind of always on 24/7 recording, you wouldn't necessarily be able to trust that, because unless you're going to go check that, you would possibly be at risk of obviously making it non-compliant. So that's how using the pods can really help you with that, and obviously save your energy costs as a result, which is really great for all of our clients.
The system was really good when we were in proper lockdown as well, because I switched everything off totally, and then when I put everything back on, it let me know everything was getting up to speed and they were all working. I think people need to reduce the amount of fridges that they've got on, fill the capacity of them, because they actually work more efficient when they're full anyway. When there's big gaps in them, they're not. That's why folks say if your freezer's empty, you should put cardboard boxes in it, because it reduces the air, so it makes it more efficient. Instead of having it cranked to the coldest setting, make it work. Because as long as it's compliant, there's no reason why it needs to be 2 degrees if it can be 4 degrees.
Yeah, definitely. It's just thinking about all those little changes, like making sure the fridge is full instead of splitting it across the two, and making sure it's not unnecessarily colder than it needs to be. And so today is Food Waste Day, and we'd also like to explore the changes that food businesses can make within the kitchen to stop food waste. So to provide some context, in the UK, a third of all food produced is wasted each year. And it's estimated that about 18% of annual food waste is created by the hospitality and food service industry. That's reported as about 920,000 tonnes of food waste each year. And apparently about 75% of this is avoidable. Is this something that surprises you, or have you found that food waste is a big problem?
Doesn't surprise me at all. If you'd asked me that question 8 years ago, I'd have probably been like, wouldn't have believed you. But like I said to you about Scotland, we've got to recycle everything, so food waste is a big one. I was told, I had a minister in my shop, and he said to me that food waste was going to become compulsory in a year or 2 years' time. And he said that this company, Keenan's, has just started composting food waste in Aberdeenshire. And I said, really? So I contacted them. I like being ahead. I don't like getting told what to do. I like to kind of be ahead of that. Okay, so we put it in. And then I joined the Sustainable Restaurant Association. One of the things they said, are you monitoring your food waste? I says, well, I've got 5 bins or whatever. And they said, are you filling them? What's going in them? And I thought, I'm going to start looking at this. Holy moly. It's funny when you start looking at it and you start realising, because I thought I'd not got food waste because, so I'm thinking, where's this waste coming from? So the batter scraps was a big one. Potato peelings, massive. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I changed onto prep chips, was because I was going into the bin and I was seeing the amount of waste, like skin or half potatoes, just because folk weren't caring. They're just cutting it, throwing it. And at that time, it was £20 a bag of potatoes. And when you're going through 150 bags of potatoes a week, it's quite a lot when you weigh up the waste, because out of 25-gram sack of tatties, you'd normally get, if you're doing well, 19 kg out of it. I'd have been lucky if I was getting 13, 14, 15 kg. So it's a lot of waste. So it started opening my eyes. When I decided to go into pre-cut chips, I said, right, let's get rid of a couple of them food waste bins, because that'll make up for the cost of someone else doing these potatoes for us. But it really opens your eyes to, right, hang on a minute, what are we going to do with the middle of these bits of onions for the onion rings? You know, so I said to my supplier, I said, right, let's make coleslaw with these. So send me down the rest of the stuff. We'll make coleslaw with the middles. You know, you've got to start finding a use for everything, you know, because it can't go in the bucket. There's people starving around the world.
Yeah, those are really innovative ways to deal with like the waste from food prep. Just to bring some more numbers into the mix, it is apparently 45% of the hospitality waste that comes from the food preparation. So like you're saying there, the peeling of potatoes, chopping of the onions, 45% of all the waste comes from that. But 21% of the hospitality food waste does also come from spoilage. So that's about 193,000 tonnes a year. Obviously, being a fish and chip shop, you've got lots of different products, you've got lots of different fridges. Do you think it's harder for you than traditional restaurants because of the way you order, serve, keep it in the hot hold and everything?
For us, because we're using all local produce, we order it in daily, every second day or whatever. So I don't mind running out of product anymore. So I'd rather run out of something than have too much in my fridge and spoilage happen. I think it's quite healthy to say something's gone. You know, generally you order more the next week, and if it's gone again, well, it's healthy. You know, it's not like you're just not ordering enough. But we also cook to order. So it's not like we've got a cabinet full of food and people are just picking and choosing what they want. You know, we cook to order. So the only spoilage we generally get would be if we break something. We record everything. So on our EPOS system, we record every bit of wastage that we've got, so I can keep track of it. The hardest places I think would have that problem. See these places that do buffet food, the wastage must be massive there.
I didn't realise you cooked to order. That's a great change you also made as a fish and chip shop. Obviously, the ones I go to around here, it is all just displayed in the cabinet, sat there for you. So that's also a really nice conscious choice you've made.
I changed that 20 years ago because what I found was, because we used to shut between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock during the week, and at 2 o'clock there was always the same 4 items left in the cabinet. So that was staff were getting that for their lunches, and you're like, well, let's stop putting them in because no one's eating them. But actually, if you cook everything to order, you get less complaints because the food generally is coming out in pristine condition. It's not been sitting in the cabinet half an hour, 2 hours. You've got no idea how long that food's been.
And not only are you then prioritising the food you put out and your customer relationship, it's a really great way to combat the food waste, because obviously food waste costs the UK £2.5 billion a year. And just a small change like that, if every fish and chip shop made it, it would be a nice reduction in that contribution there. Another benefit that people think about, obviously, of like digital food safety, aside from the food waste and the energy consumption, is what you've talked about before, the paperwork. Great for you for your dyslexia and just to keep it more organised, but also it's a great way to reduce your paper usage. It just seems like an organisational improvement, but actually it's a really huge environmental change. One tree is equal to roughly 10,000 sheets of paper. So if you're completing several a day, and so is every other food business in the UK, it's about 1.8 million pieces of paper a year and 65,000 trees deforested just to complete your food safety paperwork, which, like you said, is a huge pain to store, a huge pain to find. So thinking about a sustainable initiative there, it's also great to make the change from paperwork to digital checklist because you reduce your contribution to that deforestation amount there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that you've got, like, I have got a notepad in the shop, and that is just for if I've got something I need to scribble down there and then. But we're talking like a little tiny notepad. Like, we don't even take phone-in orders anymore, because it's all online anyway. So there's no real reason to have a pile of paper anymore. One of the actual other benefits I've found with the Navitas is the environmental health officer, when they come in and they want to see your stuff, I just say to them, give me your email address and I'll just add you as a user, and they can go on and have a look at it, and I'll take them off it a week later or whatever. You've got nothing to hide because it's all electronic anyway, and you just say on you go. But it makes you really transparent. You're not saying, oh, I don't have that, and then pulling out something that's not filled in or just been filled in. This way, there's no cheating at all. It's great, to be honest.
Yeah, you get total operational visibility, don't you? It is all there. It's quick and simple, and then it's green too.
Well, actually, like what we were saying earlier on. So when I had my cook safe, and if I'd gone and printed off like the full year and bound it, because I used to bind them in monthly books. If I'd done that, but then I just took a new fridge in or changed something, it's dated. When you print something, it's dated the minute you print it. It's like a newspaper. It's out of date as soon as it's printed. The beauty with this is, if you want something changed, it's done instantly, and there's no knock-on effect. It's real time.
Yeah, definitely. So, research suggests that about 78% of modern consumers would like to reduce their environmental impact by making more informed choices when eating out. So there's obviously an increasingly environmentally conscious generation of consumers. So that makes sustainability also quite profitable, like a sales generating initiative, not just a planet friendly one. Have you seen any business value from being more sustainability focused?
Massive. I think being sustainable is massive. I've always said that if you've got two shops identical to each other, next door to each other, selling the same product, but one's selling sustainable product and one's not, the one that's not is limiting itself to the people that don't care, because the people that care ain't going to go near this one, but anyone can go into the one that's taken the right choice and being sustainable. So you're closing the market down on yourself by not being sustainable. And for us, it's opened loads of doors. Like, I've had so much press worldwide with it, and then being Lonely Planet, UK Best Eatery, that was a couple of years ago, and the people that's pulled in as well, and that's all to do with sustainability and about my environmental practice. So there's a great upsell there. There's no negativity in it. You've got to be ahead of the game, but not too ahead. I think you've got to be careful that you can go too deep into it and actually be lost in it. You've got to be current.
Yeah, and it's definitely the perfect time now, because it really is in the thick of the sustainability movement at the moment.
Definitely.
That's great then. So I think we'll wrap up a bit here. If you could give 3 pieces of advice to other food service businesses about having a more sustainable kitchen and just a more positively impacting business on the environment in general, what would they be?
So I think honesty has got to be the first thing. So honesty with yourself and honesty with everyone else. So a bit like, I'm reading a book at the moment called Black Box Thinking, and that's all about transparency and being honest and not being in trouble for making a mistake. So we learn by mistakes. So if, say, for instance, someone's chucking out all that bits of onion but not saying, we never get better. But if they say, hey, we've got a problem, collectively we can fix that problem. So you don't give them into trouble, but they've highlighted that there's an error. So I think that you've got to create a bit of transparency and make there no fear factor of making mistakes, because we learn from mistakes, and that's how we'll get better. So like with your system per se, that you don't have to worry about people not filling it in or lying about what something is. It's all there. It's tidy. Electric has got to be, your energy consumption has got to be top of the tree at the minute. Always has been, but more so now. A mistake now is seriously costly. Before, it would have only cost you maybe a couple of £100 a year. It's going to cost you a couple of £1,000 a year for a silly little mistake now. So energy efficiency has got to be high up there. And another thing, food waste, massive. You know, only buy in what you're going to need. Don't buy in because you think you're going to have an absolute wave of customers coming in. Buy in what you need. Be comfortable with selling out, and just be realistic with what you're buying.
Yeah, I think those are great pieces of advice. Thank you. I particularly like the honesty one. I think that's a good one. So looking ahead for you, what's your next sustainability challenge to tackle at the Bay then? Have you got one, or are you just on top of it?
For me, it is about really keeping an eye on energy is quite crucial at the minute. Also, we're bringing in a lot of new menu items, keeping it fresh, utilising some of the items that we've got, and just kind of keeping it tidy. I think sustainability, you've got to just have an open door approach.
Yeah, once you get yourself into the sustainability discussion, you're just constantly learning from it, aren't you? Anyway, once you open yourself up to it, there's so many more interpretations and like bits of advice someone around the corner will have that you can always apply to you and will be helpful.
I think so. Yeah, you're never going to be there. There's not an end that you can be at, and when you do think you're there, everything's changed by that point anyway. So it just keeps evolving.
You've just got to be really adaptable to change and growing in the hospitality industry.
I think also what it makes you do is actually gives your business, gives it an MOT all the time. So when you're looking at it like this all the time, it means that you're not got that tunnel vision, that blinkers on, and that's what a lot of businesses are terrible for. It's just like, that's what we've done for 10 years, 20 years, that's it, that's all we're doing. No, you need to take them blinkers off and get the wider, better picture now.
Yeah, we totally agree with you there, Calum. Thank you so much for taking the time today to speak to us on that. It's been so helpful and really informative. And I hope everybody listening can take a lot away from that. So yeah, thank you so much again.
Thanks, Calum. Really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today.
No worries. Good. Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Navitas Safety's Tasty Safety podcast. Navitas Safety is an all-encompassing safety company providing support via software and services for food safety, health and safety, and fire safety to the food service industry. If you need any support or would like to find out more, please visit navitassafety.com.